right. It is now 1 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and kick things off. If you have questions or feedback, leave it in comments. All right, let's get everyone situated with how the event works. So for those that are joining in the audience, you do have a chat box here. Hey, Alan. Actually, Alan, I think you emailed me your deck. We might have time to include it. Just going to make sure I got it from you. Can you please get a fresh link? Okay, but did I get a link from you? Yeah, I do have it. How am I going to get that over? I guess I could make it work this way. All right. So I think we've loaded up all the decks. We have, I think, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 7, 8 decks to go through today. For those that are new to joining us, basically how this works. Just a quick background. My name is Jason Kirby. I'm managing director of Thunder.vc. We're a tech-enabled investment bank that uses AI to identify who has a higher probability of investing in who. And we have a platform that any founder or VC can sign up on, absolutely free, and go to thunder.vc, create a profile, fill out your company or firm details, and then we use AI to identify for you, who's a good fit for you to connect with, whether it be on the deal flow side or investor side, streamlining who you should focus on building relationships with, monitoring over time, and trying to eventually either raise capital from or deploy capital into. There's some paid versions of it, but for the most part, it's a free community. And then we also provide consulting and advisory services as far as our tech-enabled investment banking services for select clients. If anyone ever has questions, you're more than welcome to reach out about that. But today we're talking about pitch decks. So we have some brave volunteers that have submitted their pitch decks for our weekly roast. We do this every Friday, assuming I'm able to make it. Some Fridays not, but we're taking a break from being gone last week. So this is actually episode 3 of our weekly deck roast, and I'm excited to dive in. Effectively, if you guys haven't already read the prompts of how this works, there is the link to the Luma as well. It's in the LinkedIn for those that are joining live on LinkedIn. We have the reference in terms of the scoring that we use in this. So that's super crucial to understand how I go about these. When I review these decks, I like to be as critical and constructive with that criticism as well as possible. And even if I'm not reviewing your deck, I try to give lots of valuable tips and tricks that anyone can apply to their pitch decks and what they're trying to do. And then at the end of every deck, I give a score of 0 to 5. If you want to see what those scores are, you're welcome to go to our website and check those out. To the event pages that we set up. Do I need to call in to hear anything? You probably just need to set up your speakers to be able to hear anything. It does look like my audio is coming in clear, so should be good on that front. I'm just going to check LinkedIn real quick, make sure everything is good on that front. Yep, we're live on all fronts. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our first deck. Keep in mind, I have not looked at any of these decks prior to just clicking and I'm opening them up. I come in real fresh. The perspective that I provide is basically if I don't know who you are and you're shipping this deck to me as if I'm a target VC investor, I will be reviewing your decks as if I've clicked open that link for the very first time and I'm wearing my VC hat. I'll be giving obviously way more time because I'll be reading out loud what my thoughts are, but I'll be interpreting as if I'm a VC. So keep that context in mind. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, window, boom. All right, so our first deck is Tenamint. Confidential. Well, I apologize. You did agree to terms to publish this publicly on our YouTube. So hopefully you knew that was coming. Tenamint, revolutionary collectibles with physical assets, DeFi, GameFi. So okay, sounds like we're going into Web3 territory. Slightly dated deck. Looks like it's from May 23. So something to kind of keep in mind. Be careful dating your decks. People can, if you're sending this to someone and it looks like it's a month or two old, it's either looks like you made a mistake, or two, you've been in market for a while and it doesn't look good. I'm kind of anti putting a date, or if you are going to put a date, it better be up to date. It better not be an old deck. I skipped the disclaimer. Disclaimers, they're common. There's nothing wrong with them. You throw them in there. Depends on your circumstances, but no one's ever going to read them until they actually are going to take it seriously or not. All right, vision. Imagine a world where collectibles are tokenized and on the blockchain, transcending physical boundaries. Okay, so kind of feel like we already have that. It's not necessarily imagined. It's something that I think has been done or has been often talked about. A centralized marketplace emerges where passion for collectibles converges with exciting opportunities for DeFi and GameFi. Okay. Doesn't sound too revolutionary. I've just seen a lot of companies in this space, so I'm like, okay, what's going to make you guys special? Tenamint is innovations, GameFi mechanics, DeFi. So a lot of just verbiage here. I'm really having to figure out what makes you special. Innovative, phygital experience. I'm not. Is that supposed to be blended? I guess phygital experience, seamlessly blending. So you're using a lot of terminology, like kind of like lingo, like industry lingo and stuff like that. So obviously this would be maybe very relevant to a Web3 crypto investor who lives and breathes this stuff all day long. But if you reached out to someone that's not, they'll probably struggle with this. So just something to kind of keep in mind. Collect community-driven platform, partnerships with athletes. So, okay, you're doing a million things. I don't like this already. I'm already having a hard time just saying, why do you need to exist? So trading cards, Eli 5. I don't know what Eli 5 is supposed to be. Featuring a... Okay, so I guess taking physical assets and then making, or just maybe, I guess, a reference of trading cards. Physical trading card, marketplace, okay. Buy and sell, lend, fit. Okay, so this phygital concept, I guess. So you're going to create a digital token for each physical card. I guess, are you physically controlling the card by itself? So I guess the question is there an inventory situation where you're actually holding on to this card? So that I do not know. Product gamification, play to earn, play. Okay, so I'm already struggling a lot. I've seen these decks so many times before. I don't really see what ultimately makes this. I think it's a clean, professional, design, simple, but I'm having a hard time just understanding why you need to exist. And what makes you unique. I'm not sure if your product's live yet or not. I'm not sure if it's like I guess it's fractionalized ownership concept, which has been kind of tried and played out. So up to May, you're at something like 1,000 users. You have a pipeline of high value cards. I guess that means you're going to raise money to acquire the cards and sell fractional ownership, kind of like a Masterworks. Might be a good idea just to kind of make that comparison up front that you're fractionalizing, which I did not see anything about fractional ownership. Maybe I'll just, oh, there it is, buried in this page here. Okay, so fractional ownership. There's just way too much for me to read, and you just need to call it out for exactly what it is. This looks bulleted out ideas, doesn't mean anything. So I'm assuming this is pre-seed, super early stage, hasn't actually proven anything out. You're basically saying we're going to do marketing and we're going to build a business model. That's all this slide actually means. And whether it says anything more than that, I'm not going to read it because I'm putting on my VC hat. I'm drawing from past experience, pattern recognition. So basically, it's like, how are you going to get the marketplace? How are you going to acquire the product? And how are you going to get the buyers? And how are you going to exit? 6% service fee charged back to buyers automatically via smart contracts. Okay, yeah, I've seen maybe not this exact model for just playing cards, but also did I see like an exact market opportunity outside of this one card sells for that much money? Yeah, so I don't see the market opportunity just yet. Oh, all the way down here. Okay, that's pretty far to put it down. Okay, DeFi. So you're saying you're a $2 billion market for this. So I guess what is the 2 billion? Yes, you don't explain the 28 or 2 billion or how you get to the 2 billion, so that's a red flag. Looks like there's a lot of competition. That's a lot of logos to throw on a very busy market as it is. And you say you're the perfect in between of all these platforms. It's asking for a lot, I guess. I think the problem is here. I just like the team. Yeah, this is fine and simple. Investors and key partnerships. So like this is. So it looks like you brought in some investors. I know some of these names. So that's a good sign. So maybe the team is solid. Serial entrepreneur. That's great. Maybe give me a little bit more information as to what that means and what you did there or anything like that. You're raising a 1.8 pre-seed. Seems like a decent amount of money. You're going to acquire 50,000 users, facilitate 200,000 transactions. This is a great slide. I will give you credit for this. This is exactly what the ask and use of funds slide should do. I think you crushed this part of the slide. Actually, in all honesty, I think you have a good deck. I just don't think you kind of established the problem of why the world needs you and why this is a problem that has to be solved. Outside of crypto Web3 investors that are pretty diehard on the space, I think this one's going to struggle. I'd give it like a 3. I think you have some potential. It's not that you can't work. It's just really going to come down to can you execute and can you acquire market share and be the one. This would be too risky for most people, just given the state of the company and the product. But not bad. All right, moving on to the next one. SetPro, intuitive AI powered tools for content entertainment producers to manage their productions end to end. That's a bad picture. Entertaining consumption is exploding. Don't make mistakes like this. Don't stretch images. That just looks unprofessional and bad. Okay, there's developments, production, distribution, consumption. So I guess you're saying you're going to be in the production aspect. The problem, actors and crews, there's 50,000 per film. It's a lot. Is that dollars or is that people, equipment, million per film? I guess I don't know what these numbers mean. Original gig economy, hire on contract for 6 months. Okay, I see what you mean. So producers are acquiring equipment and they're acquiring actors and crew. Got it. Production and management and payroll. I just, tell me, are these there's 50,000 people that work on a crew, or that's $50,000 they're investing in a film, or that I don't know where you're going with. So just put the unit there. Problem, production management, payroll. David. So the problem is that there's the search, onboard, manage, and pay, and there's all these processes. Okay, sure. Production with SetPro's platform. It sounds like you're having to do everything, but it's just all done. So you still have to do everything. I guess it's just on one platform. And you're using the data to make it faster, more efficient, and cheaper. Not in love with the slide. I kind of get it. Okay, show me how you're doing it, or why you're going to win, or what makes you special. Right now, I guess the 5 billion, is that what's being spent on solutions, or is that what's being spent on production? So I'd want to kind of make sure I understand that a little bit more. But 650 billion being spent on producing entertainment, that's like the overall entire budget end to end. But I guess what percentage are you capturing? Like, you're obviously not going to take that entire budget. Like, what are people willing to pay for this? I guess your minimum of, let's get you started. So some kind of I don't know what this MVP does. I guess it's their invoicing. I guess what competitors already be in the space. So I'm getting a lot of questions here that aren't being answered as to why, again, this needs to exist. So you already have 4 production houses working on 7 films. So there's 300 app users. Your ARR is 10,000, and you have 1.5 in total billings. I guess that means that of the 7 films, they're processing 1.5 million in invoices. Okay, well, that's not terrible, but the fact that you're getting, $10,000 or less than 1% of that would be kind of concerning. I'm curious what your business model is. So worked in Hollywood and Bollywood, MBA. All right. So doesn't seem like a bad team. Seems like a smart team. Engineer at Netflix. It's hard to do that. Advisors doesn't really help you much. These aren't big names. These aren't. I guess Life of Pi. Okay, so it doesn't really hurt you. But as people have been on this show before, like I'm not a huge fan of listing advisors unless they are big reputable names that people would recognize and kind of associate success with. Business model and like broadly available, like not or maybe people within the industry. Sales taglines. I don't know what sales taglines means. I don't know, is that the name of the product? Is that what you're going to do? Increase revenue by producing more content. This is what this is the taglines you're going to use to try to capture people's attention. Got it. And you'll take a typo. I guess not, maybe not. 3% insurance commissions at 0.1%. So you're going to be facilitating insurance for film production. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't see anything about there. So you're kind of playing an insurance tech, maybe. I'd be interested in learning more about that. That's not clarified anywhere else. What people are paying and why people are paying a monthly subscription. It would be interesting to know. Estimated to reach 100 million ARR in 4 years. Well, considering at 10% right now, or $10,000 right now, I'd say it's pretty aggressive to say that you're going to get to 100 million in 4 years. It just looks like you're just saying that, but you don't necessarily have the ability or resources or team to do so, and how much you need to raise to get there. Looks like you're in a pretty heavy competitive quadrant. Typically, when you do this quadrant model, you kind of want to stand out as kind of like the sole provider in the quadrant. End-to-end solution versus entertainment industry specific. I'd probably look at maybe other variables to compete against these people on, just because you want to be alone in the quadrant. You don't necessarily want a bunch of competitors in your same quadrant, and you're just kind of competing over features. You really want to take over your own quadrant. So maybe redefine the layout of this quadrant. This advice for everyone if you're going to use the quadrant competition framework. Choose the 2 comparable on things that make you stand out and separate it from the rest of the competition. So I guess the rap book guys are already worth $1 billion. So that makes me question, like, why do you need to exist and what are you going to do better than them? I don't know why Toast is in here and how they're relevant to entertainment. So I'm confused by that. All right, and you don't have an ask. All right, so this deck's a little half baked. The business model is a little half baked. It's super early. I'm not seeing really any examples of technology at this point. You got 10K in AR, so you're like doing something. If B2B SaaS may or may not be interested. Like very early stage angel checks, very much a possibility. I would give this kind of like a 2 or a 3. Maybe take some feedback that I've given and kind of fill it out a little bit more. It could be a little bit better. But thanks for spinning your deck. All right, moving on. We have Liquidium. That's right. We have Liquidium on, and all right. So 2 slides wasted. Okay, don't do that. That's already a really bad start. You want to make sure that you are adding value on every slide, and why make me click through slides that don't add any value? So lithium ion battery supply chain gap. Also, like this PowerPoint layout, like don't do PowerPoint like this. Just give me a PDF. Like again, don't make me have like an editable file like the presentation format or anything like that. That just makes things more complicated. So demand is projected to be in projections of millions. Okay, so demand's going up for lithium. Obviously, we want to secure access to raw and refined materials. They support the growth of the U.S. Okay, so basically, national blueprint for lithium batteries. So I guess here is onshoring lithium production in the U.S. It's expensive and efficient. Okay, so not arguing here. I don't love the layout or design of this deck by any means, but I can't argue with lithium being a big problem. We help geothermal energy producers extract 30% more lithium from their brine while generating 85% less waste. Okay, that seems like a valuable value proposition. Selective membranes at 1/3 the production cost. All right, so that's a big offer, or a big, potential solution. Basically, extracting more, yielding less waste, and saving cost. Those are all the right boxes to check to potentially onshore production of lithium and mining, or just probably for the whole industry as a whole. Purity and eliminating waste. Liquidium. So basically, you have some kind of nanomembrane technology that is going to improve lithium purity, lower cost, and reduce chemical waste, and reduce water requirements. Like all good things. Like, not my, again, best design, but I'm getting the point. So that's what you want to do. The market, lithium is a growing multi-billion-dollar market. Yeah, no one's going to argue with that. Let's see. So U.S. brine market's 37 million. Total U.S. lithium reserves. So basically, you're saying it's kind of a weird layout in terms of how the breakdown works. But what I understand is in the entire U.S., we have $28 billion worth of lithium to be extracted. Right now, the market's only 37 million for U.S. brine market. I don't know the market entirely, so I don't really know what these numbers ultimately truly come out to mean. But so the refining industry is 5 billion. So basically, I guess a certain percentage of the lithium has to be refined, and those are the cost or the market opportunity for refinement. Most of which is containing brine. I just don't know why. It seems really, really low for a U.S. brine market, but I guess that maybe be your opportunity. I'd probably try to highlight that that's what you're going to grow, if I'm understanding this properly. Activity. So these are all companies getting funded in the lithium space, I take it. So I'm not sure how you compare, but obviously lots of investment going into the space, which can be both good and bad. Beachhead market is geothermal operators with existing lithium production business units. So these are all where the lithium reserves are, I take it. And these are the companies that you would be approaching that already have solutions in the market in the U.S. Again, these slides are worthless. Don't give me these transition slides. It's kind of annoying. Go-to-market strategy. This doesn't mean anything. I guess it's meant to be some kind of animation. Let's just skip ahead. Oh, no, they're all different. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I guess this is meant to be presented. Design layout. You're losing me, making it difficult. So I guess you're going to put something here, and then trucks are going to do something. So I guess this needs to be narrated. So that's a fail. Do not have a deck that has to be narrated. No VC ever wants to be in a meeting with you while you're walking through the deck. They want to have skimmed through the deck, have the gist of it before having a meeting with you, and then they want to have a conversation with you. Don't ever expect to go to a VC meeting and pull up the deck and go through a presentation. You've already lost the battle, and VCs won't want to work with you 99% of the time. It's seen as a red flag. So that's a no for everyone paying attention today, to keep that in mind. Moving forward, we have geothermal case study. All right, so there's a lot to... Okay, you got some case studies, calculated potential. Okay, so these are potential or things you've already done. There's so using Liquidium model. So this is what you're projecting would happen if they use this, or if it's already happening. These are all assumptions, so I don't know if that's a real case study. Be careful there. This looks kind of like you've already done it, but the words you're using make it look like it's a projection of what would happen if you worked with them. So, yeah, dude, don't use PowerPoint. Look how slow this is. Oh, it's brutal. Operational partners. Yeah, I don't really, I guess, know exactly what all this means. These are your, I guess, your team. These are your research partners, I guess, or operational partners. Yeah, I don't. This all has to be narrated, so not a good fit. Um, okay, yeah, you lost me a little bit, and then having your team very at the bottom of the thank you slide. Oh, this. Oh, you guys are okay. So this looks like a university project, potentially. So it looks like you guys either just graduated or might be finishing up PhDs or in your PhD programs. You've done research to this point to kind of identify this solution. So now it's being a little bit more clear, that you kind of more or less identified an opportunity, but you're not necessarily asking for money. I guess at some point you want to. Maybe you got to do some more research. So it'd be helpful just to kind of know what the, where you guys are at, with the development of the technology, and what you need to kind of take it to market. So a lot of questions still unanswered. I'm going to give this one a 2, just because the flow was pretty bad. I did understand it. I felt like I couldn't have a high level, but I'm not an expert in the space, so I can't call bullshit on anything here, because I don't have the expertise. But I was able to at least understand kind of what you're trying to do in the first couple slides, which matters. But a lot of supporting slides I think need work, and I think this needs to kind of be designed to be for venture scale and like venture capital. And I don't see those elements here in terms of what you're selling, how much you're going to make, what's business model. Seems like this is all very tech oriented and not necessarily business oriented. All right, moving on to the next one. Heyday canning, canned food for a new generation. Interesting. I guess we've all kind of neglected canned food, especially after COVID. The first couple weeks of COVID, I remember buying canned food. But in just 6 months, Heyday has created a new market for premium canned goods. All right, so on the shelf in 1,000 locations, not bad. You're launched in Whole Foods and Sprouts. 620K, nice. All right, so forecasting 2 million. That's some pretty solid growth. Strong unit. Okay, new retailer interest. All right, Foods hungry for new Heyday innovation. All right, this looks pretty good. Not our first early employers at Sweet Earth Foods, driving growth from, okay, so solid track record, good team. Like that, you guys are putting the team up front, kind of showing your snapshot. This is looking really good. I'm excited to kind of go through this deck. Looks like the founders know what's up. So kind of cool branding. It's different. It's bespoke. It looks like it was, very strategic. I'm not going to read every detail, but I can get the gist. It looks like, somewhat impressive and relevant team, industry related. Looks like, female founders, which is always great to see. Welcome to the final frontier. Canned food doesn't deliver on today's trends. I would say I try to avoid canned food. Don't give my daughter canned food. I don't eat canned food. Like maybe in a jam where I don't have any options or I just feel like it's going to go to waste. Heyday is making canned food essential to a new generation. Wow, yep, definitely would say this brand is way more appealing and looking more aligned with what would be expected of like a millennial or Gen Z generation. Okay, sustainability, pay premium. Okay, right. All right, so like this is pretty cool. I'd be interested in talking to these founders if they'd be interested in chatting. Our first product disrupting the 2.7 canned beans. Okay, focusing on canned beans. So keeping the same convenience factor, but retaining nutrition and sustainability. $5. I guess that's when you consider other canned foods like around like $1 to $4. But then again, I haven't bought canned food in a while, and inflation's been pretty gnarly. So maybe $5 is a pretty good deal. I guess is that the retail price? Yeah, so that's what the stores will selling it at. So be curious what the margins are. So getting all the good names in here that are all kind of more affiliated with higher quality, higher price. Okay, on the shelf $1,000. This one, might want to rethink how this is laid out. Like I guess you're just kind of repeating some bullets here. Maybe, it looks like a giant paragraph, but Hours between 9 units. So you're selling about 9 units per store per week. I don't know. It could be. I'm not sure what you guys are doing in terms of getting brand coverage, but you guys definitely would stand out with this type of design compared to others. Um, Curious to know who some of the other competitors would be in these stores. Which these other ones over here, like these guys, look pretty interesting and competitive. Okay, 93% repeat rate. That's good. Strong. Okay. Two. So we got some strong marketing support planned. Okay, great. Um, be interested in shipping you guys to some of my friends that have had success in this space. Innovation pipeline, limitless opportunity. So you have a soup, chili, and fruit line. Okay, so you guys got a bunch of different products planned coming down the road. Um, I would be interested in like knowing like is this more or less just a rebranded packaging kind of play with geared towards the right newer generations to kind of win them back into the canned food industry. I'd be curious to kind of know what the canned food industry growth rate is and if it is growing or if that's kind of your intention is to take a declining market and make it grow, which obviously is a hard pull, especially with some major players. One problem with this business, though, is it will probably be acquired early, and that would be something that VCs would be concerned about for like massive returns. It would probably be bought on a percentage of, like a multiple of EBITDA, so not really big return potential, not the 100x, at least 10x type return that they'd be needing. But you're projecting around 2 million in revenue. COGS, ooh, okay, so only a 35% margin, which is not entirely. Here we go. 7.5% gross margin, at least from the first year, but moving forward, you're getting it. Okay, you're projecting to get up to more scale here as you grow. That's good. You'll be profitable in November 2024. It's good. Good highlight, good design in general. I do like the execution of the design. But basically, this is what you're really trying to sell as your gross margin will get up to 50%. That would be something that in diligence that would want to unpack and try to dive a little bit deeper. Uh, yeah, so you're good. You're calling it out. You know what you need to do. Good. Still not like it is. It's a pretty good margin to have in retail in this space. It's not necessarily what venture capitalists love to see, but venture capitalists that know consumer goods, could very much be excited about that. Higher priced, tier margin and creative items. So it sounds like you have a good expansion strategy, strategically. Yeah. So these would obviously be all potential acquirers or partners, strategic partners for distribution and/or scale. A lot of acquisitions. Yep. So, yeah. So like, okay, three. But again, when did we see these acquisitions happen? It would probably just. You're probably leaving out the year for a reason. These year, probably happened in the peak of the market. These numbers have dramatically shifted in the last year or two. These multiples are no longer probably realistic. But great examples of just kind of showing that there are, 9-figure acquisitions. Just keep in mind they're not billion-dollar acquisitions, and that's ultimately what might hinder some VCs from participating. You got your whole crew listed out here, which is nice, but probably not going to read that. But good to just kind of throw in there. All in all, I give you guys like a 4 out of 5, like or potentially a 5. I think the only thing holding you back is you will build a great business. Probably, I've seen a lot of these businesses do very, very well. They're hard, very, very hard and stressful businesses, but they work, and this is usually the result of like a 5 to 10 year growth trajectory. So everyone usually has a win here, assuming that you don't have to raise too much capital and you don't take too much dilution or accept onerous terms. You definitely want to avoid aggressive preference terms, liquidation preference terms on your term sheets. Maybe 1x and nothing more. Anything more than that's going to really hurt your odds of having a big victory for you. But nonetheless, my DMs are open if you want to chat. But I think this one was well done, well put together. Seems like a savvy, smart team on the branding front, and knows how to potentially win in this market. So kudos to you guys. All right, moving on to Nanopowder Plant, empowering farmers to skyrocket yields and slash input costs using nano fertilizers. Okay, all right. So it looks like kind of some bio nanotech type solutions. Money and sufficient yields. Okay. So I guess what's going to make you different on the fertilizing side? Overpays for, all right. So the average farmer, wow. So large farmer, gotcha. So some, okay, so like the big guys, that makes more sense. Okay, so a couple million per farmer being lost that could be saved. Nano nutrition improves yields and reduce fertilizer usage. On average, a farmer increases in profit per hectare. Okay, so this is your solution, and it will increase the profit per hectare, hectare or whatever, and savings as well. So they'll save some money and they'll make some more money. Okay. This doesn't tell me nanotech. This doesn't look very nano-y. In terms of small, I'd probably like a little bit more detail as to what the nanotech is. This is very loose and vague. It's just pictures of a very complicated machine. Is this hyperscale? Is this a prototype? Give me some meat here. You just lost a lot of credibility with these pictures. I know it could be credibility for some that know this space, but to me that looks like a very small output for what would need to be a very large scale output. So you got some pilots. Okay, so early stage. There we go. And kind of clarifying. 9K paid by the first customers. Is that total across the 18 people? They've only paid 9K. That's, not a lot of money. 2,000 fertilized hectares. That's 9K for 2,000 hectares. That's concerning as far as revenue potential. I'd be curious to know how many hectares of farmland there would be to fertilize with your solution, and what the market and what that revenue per hectare would be. That would kind of tell me the venture scale. Looks like we're focused only on Brazil. Oh, I had no idea we're looking at a Brazilian market opportunity. Interesting. Okay. For 1 liter. So you're expecting $2.50 per liter produced for our target clients. So you're expecting one target client to purchase 1,400 liters at $25 a piece. So one client makes you $35,000. I guess how many clients there are there for you in the world, and that would be my concern from a venture scale opportunity. Maybe this could be a good small business, but that doesn't look like you have a lot of, if there's 1 million farmers maybe that fit this criteria that could buy 1,400 liters. If not, I'd be slightly concerned. Supercharged expansion, boost production. Okay, so I would try to quantify this, like, boost production capacity. How much capacity would 2.9 million get you? Also, let's be clear, is this USD? Now I'm confused because now it looks like a Brazilian play. I would like to know kind of what I imagine it's USD, but something just, technically it's got the dollar sign there, so I guess it's fine. Dominate Brazilian market. What does that mean? Like, these are just broad statements. Give me the numbers. Like, give me the measurable accomplishments you expect to achieve. Meet the team. Was in the retailing business. Okay, so, decently, somewhat, it's not super relatable in this business, but built and managed a team of engineers. So not sure, again, this is relatable. Okay, so this guy seems, but he's an advisor. So that's, not a good sign. It doesn't seem like there's founder market fit as much. So that would be concerning. I would try to qualify yourselves a little bit more on that front. And also kind of explain why you're going after Brazil as opposed to the U.S. And, could you win in the U.S.? Based on that roadmap thing I saw, Singapore powerhouse. I don't know. So there are a lot of questions unanswered here. It looks like you're raising a large sum of cash for a very unproven business that doesn't have venture scale. So like the numbers just don't add up for me. It doesn't look impressive enough. The numbers look very, very small from the money-making opportunity. So either revise that or revise your ask or revise your go-to-market would be my advice. I would say this is like a 2 or 3. The deck's not terrible. Thought it was pretty clean, easy to understand. Just leaves me asking more questions than I came in with. All right, moving on. Siingly, prioritizing quality over quantity, minimizing match fatigue and romance scams for dating app users by matching people one-on-one. Okay, so this is a dating app. I'm already not very interested. Yeah, sure, dating apps suck, but the Bumble and Tinders and Matches of the world are massive for a reason. It's all about network effects, so it doesn't matter really what problem you're solving. You have to tell me how you're gonna have network effects. And are people willing to leave the platform they currently have and move over to you? And are you going to have the supply of both sides in the marketplace to win? Preventing scams, sure, but that could just be a feature release on any of the major platforms. The solution or plan is to lessen the occurrence of match fatigue. Okay. Got a bug in here. AI concierge that nurtures a relationship. Okay. Do not want to read this. Like blocks of text. Do not want to read. Especially like the white on the light orange. It's not the best contrast. How it works. Do not want to read this at all. You've already lost me with dating app. With list of benefits. You're not gonna win any investors over with this. No one cares about this. Like there's already major players in the space. Dating apps, I see probably 10 of them on Thunder a month, if not more. None of them have any substantial user base. You have to have a user acquisition network effect story that's proven. Like you already have to have it figured out before you raise money, in my opinion. And that's what the big players all did. They all got early traction before they raised money because no one believes in this space until you've already proven it. Do not want to read this slide. Yeah, sure. Ad revenue, premium. Okay, so nothing special. Captured 10%. Okay, wow. I would just say that is, like this looks like maybe first time founders that haven't raised capital before, haven't been hit with the harsh reality of the venture capital world. I'm being a little maybe aggressive with my tone here, but I just don't like seeing dating apps. They don't get funded, but if they do, they get dated by funded by some small angels that don't regularly invest in venture-backed startups. I'm going to give this one a 0 or a 1. The deck was not very well put together, and it doesn't seem to be solving, in my opinion, a real problem that's going to win users over and create network effects. If you haven't read, I think it was Andrew Chen's book, like Network Effects or something. I forgot the name of the book, but talks about how marketplaces and networks win in this space. You're definitely going to want to read that book to better understand how you have a shot at this, or maybe pivot to something else. Moving on. Ode, unlocking the lost value of physical collectibles. So, looking somewhat similar to the first deck we saw. I did see a version of this deck in the past. This is supposedly an updated one, so I'm going to try to look at it from a fresh perspective. But just looking at this value proposition, it sounds similar to what we saw in the very first deck of this presentation or this session. No connection with collectors if sold by third parties. I think a lot of NFTs kind of solve this problem, being able to kind of capture value down range in terms of multiple transactions, whatnot, authenticating and so on. So, platform as a service technology for enhancing physical objects with like all the kind of standard stuff I see in like the NFT kind of crypto world, Web3 place, collab, the reality. So it's a platform as a service, Ode, and there's hashtag collab. I guess that's the reality of the reality show following celebrities. Oh, so you want to launch a reality show? Okay, so that's at least unique. I don't know if that's what works, but renowned designers and artists blend fashion or audience as they fly on the wall as designers personalize work with visual artists, exclusive limited edition products and works of art. Okay, yeah, I would probably need a lot more meat here. Like this is a huge investment. Create a reality TV show, and what's the distribution model to it's one thing to create a show, but how are you going to get people to listen to it, watch it? That's a separate business in it itself. So just kind of throwing this as your go-to-market sounds like a massive undertaking, and there's nothing qualifying that this will win. In addition, you're investing into building a massive platform. So just because you build a platform and have a reality show doesn't necessarily mean people are going to use it. So massive risk that doesn't seem to have proof points. So that's a concern. Engagement platform, easy access and participation. Sure. Again, don't tell me, show me. This doesn't convince me that you guys know how to execute. This just says what, kind of your dreams are to do, but you haven't necessarily done it. Product roadmap, include physical digital twins. Okay. I think I know what that means. I'll serve. So this is just like a lot of product feature. I don't know what this means. Maybe it's just a note internally. This slide looks a little weird with the dark gray in comparison to the other ones, and just how the text lays on it looks like it's selected or something. So just a weird note that I shouldn't have to think about from a design perspective, but distracts me. Be careful when you're doing your decks. Make sure to make them very easy to go through, and don't give any reason for VCs to think about something other than the material on the deck. Business model, 2 revenue streams, transaction fees. Those are pretty pricey transaction fees. Okay, and I guess you guys take 5%. I guess first sale and then resales. Okay, got it. Monthly per user fees. I guess what is POB NFTs? I guess I don't know what that means, but you're charging a fee per user that is on the platform. I guess by who's paying that fee? Is it users or the owner of the art? I don't know. So obviously different from the previous decks, not fractional ownership. Just looks like the buying and selling of a single piece. Current market editions. Yeah, art collecting is definitely going up. Then all the different types. Crypto and pure NFT. I don't know why meltdowns is a good sign for you. As far as I guess you're just stating current conditions, but like why now usually supports the case for why you should be doing it. So I guess maybe down market makes it easier for you to get market share or something. Okay, you plan to disrupt, sure. There's a lot of competition here, but okay, it sounds like a lot of these might be comparable to some degrees. So it's one thing to have cool features, but how are you going to get the users? What kind of big partnerships are you going to land? Experienced team, so entertainment attorney, as CEO, attorneys as CEOs, not always usually liked by VCs, but there's always a case for everything. Startup experience, so COO is experienced veteran, but I guess I don't know in what. So it'd probably be good to maybe list some brands or who they worked for, so like I did here, Virgin Records, and we have to GM. I guess what would be a GM doing at this stage? So a GM's kind of and not a co-founder. So I'd be curious if these people are full time at this point. I am not seeing a technical person on this deck, so that's concerning. I would want to definitely see a technology executive at this, founder or co-founder. This is not good. This is a badass slide. This doesn't tell me what you're going to accomplish. This just tells me how you're going to lose my money or light it on fire. And I think this is going to be difficult to convince VCs of. You want to show me what does $2 million do for the company and what milestones will you hit so you'll be able to raise money again. Will you get to profitability? Will you reach a certain amount of users? What art partnerships are you going to sign? Like, you haven't told me how you're going to get users. You just tell me you're going to have all these awesome features, and that's great, but that doesn't tell an investor of like why you're worth betting on. Anyone can list a bunch of slides or features or ideas, but in my opinion, if you don't have like a clear path to a go-to-market strategy, even though you're early, you haven't launched probably yet. Maybe I think you guys mentioned you did something a while back, but you got to show some life and you got to show some, opportunity and how you're going to actually make money, and what channels have you proven or have at least verified or vetted to some point, especially for a $2 million ask. And again, just a general note to everyone: tell me what you accomplish with the money. Don't tell me how you're going to spend money. Everyone knows you're going to spend it on sales and marketing and platform development, whatever. I don't care. Tell me what is the result of the money. So this one, I'm going to give it, let me just look at my notes real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2. Yeah, I'm not convinced people are going to meet with you. There's some interesting pieces. I kind of get what you're trying to do. I just don't think people are gonna, be excited enough with the information you provided to take a meeting with you. All right, moving on. Gamers Home. Let's take a look. Freelance marketplace for game studios. So, all right, great. Just tells me exactly what it is. That is very coherent. I don't know why you need this. I'm hoping this is the CEO. Gap in cultural inclusion within games. In-game purchasable does not reflect the culture and language of players worldwide. Okay, so I guess playing more into the culture, disconnect between gamers and the games they play. This represents a huge loss for gaming. Okay. Define huge loss. Revenues generated by game purchase. I don't know what. I don't know how huge loss or quantify huge loss for me, please. Don't just say a huge loss. Tell me like, is it $1 million, $1 billion, $100 billion? Give me some context here. Gamers Home is a vetted freelance marketplace. Match skill non-pro gamers and streamers with game studios. A match skilled non-pro. Okay, to create culturally inclusive in-game purchasables. So this is the app. So you are targeting the actual gamers as freelancers that are skilled in playing different games, and are maybe streamers, but they're non-pro gamers. So they're not like the pros. So that maybe they're cheaper, more affordable, more attainable, but they are not necessarily developers. I was under the understanding that it might be like game developers or the actual engineers. I'm like, upskilling is through our upskilling and reskilling programs. We guaranteed skilled professionals to game studios. Coaching, replace tutors and pre-recorded videos with live webinars. So I guess a lot of manual education. Sounds expensive and time-consuming, not scalable. Our training is our vetting process. We focus on hands-on practice. Make sure your learners can provide studios. I guess I don't know actually who these freelancers are. Are they gamers or are they gonna like build the actual game? We provide a marketplace for offer their services to studios contributing to the cultural. I don't know how it plays into the cultural. There seems to be a real big impact on emphasis on cultural inclusion, but I don't see how and why that is mission critical. And what are example like? Tell me like going back to the problem. Give me examples. Like kind of show me why these are big problems, and maybe don't list so many problems. Show me like one or two and what the cost is, and why how you guys are going to solve that. So I'm kind of getting a little confused here. You're losing me. Yeah, you made it very clear up here, but now I don't necessarily know what kind of freelancers you're providing and why you have to teach them and train them. That concerns me as if maybe they're not actually qualified. So I'm a little confused. So you're selling to the freelancer. Okay, so you are charging the freelancers. Interesting. Okay, so freelancers come and pay you to get educated, to get access to be, I guess, hired by the game studios, and you're going to take a percentage on whoever gets hired. Okay, so they're paying per access with some monthly fees. Not in love with that idea. So we're expecting Olympic esports. Yeah, definitely. I've been pretty familiar with the esports space for quite some time professionally, and that's definitely inevitable. I do hate seeing esports spelled with a lowercase e and a capital S. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. It's a word. Just capitalize the first letter. Or not at all. Gamers and streamers have professional audio. Okay, why now? Timcast. Okay. So yeah, gaming's gonna be big. I guess that's what they're trying to say here. But I got totally distracted by this, S thing. So just look at how the industry spells esports. Although I think the Olympics did actually misspell it, in my opinion. So maybe it's not your fault. Competitors. Okay, here you guys are. Okay. So this is all the things that you guys do and no one else does it. Sure. Okay. Global market insight. I guess what's your moat? That's something I always try to ask people to do is like define your moat. Like what's going to be Like once you get a customer or once you get a user, like what's going to make it so that they don't leave, that they don't go to competitors. Yeah, and try not to list off like random features. Like, do you have network effects? Do you have other solutions? Like, what's going to give you a moat that makes you highly defensible? That's something that every founder should try to define and articulate in their decks. Any client I work with, I spend so much time trying to articulate their moat and or helping them define a strategy that builds a moat for them. Just because without a moat, you just struggle dramatically to raise capital, because that's one of the core things that VCs want to see. Yeah, the gaming market's big. Not gonna argue that. I guess there's a couple different market size. Okay, so I guess why now? I guess yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, so if every gamer in the world gave you $1,000, this would be your opportunity. Yeah, this doesn't work for this kind of stuff, in my opinion. You got to kind of narrow it down a little bit. So you're saying 18 to 34-year-old gamers, 97 million. And is it just a regular average Joe gonna actually give you $1,000? Like just a regular gamer? That seems like a really high fee to commit to, unless they're all getting hired. And like, can you really deliver on 800,000 gamers being hired by game studios and spending 780 million with you? Like, what are game studios actively spending on these types of freelancers doing whatever? Still, I don't actually know what the work is. So I don't actually know what they're being hired for and what they're being trained in, which I'm, been in the sports world, in the gaming world a little bit, and I still don't know it. So I'm not sure exactly the scope. Either it's fully broad, very broad or very specific. There's like game testers or whatnot. So you definitely need to figure that out. Traction launch confirmed. I don't know how that's traction. I guess these are partners. Community building initiatives. Yeah, sure. You don't have a lot of traction. Is basically what this means. Signs regional representatives with reach. Okay, so I don't know what regional representatives means. Is that influencers? Is that events? Okay, Web3 platform. No name. Don't want to see. I haven't heard of them. Negotiating $10,000 contract. So, and basically what this means is you're trying to make things happen, but you don't actually have any traction. B2B does not mean that the traction, creating a C Corp doesn't constitute traction. Just FYI. And in most cases, any of this doesn't count as traction. This is all like conversations and talking. Like, basically, you have no traction. Just call it for what it is. You're trying, but it makes you look worse calling something traction when it's not. Okay, you launched an online store 2 months ago. What happened? Like, don't tell me you launched something. Tell me how many customers you got. That's kind of disappointing. On lead gen campaign. So, all right. Looking for a co-founder. Okay, so you guys are way too early, probably. And you're expecting to have $3 million in revenue next year, when you don't even have a co-founder yet. So I think big mistake. Okay, so it was the co-founder that built, or the founder that built this. So, my recommendation would be to start with you and why you're special and why you're going to win, because you're just so early that it's, I guess maybe you set up a Delaware C Corp because maybe you're not based in the US. Is that what, because you're an African startup? So probably put this, yes, I am Lord of Glencoe, Scotland. We can talk about that anytime. So this sounds way more interesting to start with this slide and maybe talk a little bit more about why you're qualified to build this. I would have led with this, that you're selling yourself at this point. This idea is insignificant. As far as how it's been articulated, I just don't know what kind of freelancers really, and like, can you build up this level of education and expertise to generate revenue at any kind of scale? So I'm questionable about that, and if you should be making money off the consumer or the businesses that you're placing them. So my recommendation, kind of clearly identify what these people are gonna do for them. I guess. Oh, you have a link. Okay. Still seems maybe not completely vetted out. Same kind of story here. I don't know. Yeah, I would give this one like a 2. I think lead with what makes you interesting. Clearly, you are the more interesting person. Yes, I definitely want to know a story about why you're the lord of some place I never heard in Scotland. That sounds way more interesting than anything else. But yeah, I see a lot of attempts to kind of bring communities together. I think you at least have some kind of monetizable direction, but it's not very clear yet. It's super early. Um, you're going to be selling yourself, so you need to lead with yourself. So when you're like friends and family stage, like don't have real product yet or anything, like lead with who you are and what makes you special, um, to make sure you get some attention for yourself. So that said, that's a wrap. Go ahead and stop sharing my screen. We got through, what was it, like 7, 8 decks. Appreciate everyone that was willing to submit theirs. I apologize if I was a little bit harsh. I think the winner of the day would be Heyday. I thought their deck was definitely the most impressive out of the rest. Wish them the best of luck. And be sure to look out for this event every single week. So if you haven't already subscribed to our weekly deck roast, you can do so here. I'm adding the link in to our chats. If you want to. And so I very much want to see more and more decks coming in. I love doing this and being able to hopefully be helpful to the founders. If you had a good experience or you felt the feedback was helpful to you, by all means, drop me a comment. If you want me to review an iteration of your deck down the road, by all means, resubmit it. If you have not joined our Slack community, be sure to check your email after signing up for Thunder. We have a Slack community of over 400 plus founders where we share content, ideas, and collabs amongst each other. And there's just a lot of things to engage with as far as Thunder has to offer. If you haven't already downloaded or accessed your investor list on Thunder, I highly recommend setting up a profile for your company. And with that, I hope to see y'all next week. And thanks for joining me. And we'll be sure to post this recording up on our YouTube and distribute it out to everyone that RSVP'd. Thank you, everyone.